say, okay, he's a little better. He say, but don't ever put no white dude on me because that is disrespectful. I was like, okay. Now, I don't know how America gonna feel about that.
Larry Bird would probably beat LeBron 1-on-1.
Really?
You know, Bird tough to defend. Why? Because he looks slow as shit to me. So like, I'm missing something. So like, tell me what I'm missing. You know what I mean?
When Larry Bird picked up a basketball, the game changed forever. He didn't just leave a mark on the NBA, he left a legacy that still echoes through every court today. Even in his college days, Bird's talent was so undeniable that the Boston Celtics locked him in before he'd even joined the league. And when he finally stepped onto the NBA hardwood, he wasted no time. Bird arrived as a ready-made superstar, instantly turning the Celtics into a championship threat. From his rookie season onward, Bird was a force to be reckoned with, an MVP candidate right out of the gate. Year after year, he led Boston deep into the playoffs, going toe-to-toe with the greatest names of the 1980s. His rivalries weren't just memorable, they were legendary, etching his name into the heart of basketball history. But Bird's story didn't end when he retired as a player. He continued to shape the game from the sidelines and the front office. As a head coach and later an executive, he achieved a feat no one else has matched, winning MVP, Coach of the Year, and Executive of the Year. That's influence on a whole different level. Over the years, Bird has become more than just a player, he's become a myth. The nickname Larry Legend wasn't handed out lightly. His competitive fire, sharp mind, and clutch performances inspired stories that sound almost too good to be true. And those stories, they come straight from the mouths of basketball icons. Even Michael Jordan, often regarded as the greatest player of all time, couldn't ignore Bird's greatness. While Jordan dominated the 1990s and took the NBA to new heights, his early years were a different story. In the 1980s, Bird's Celtics were one of the biggest obstacles standing in his way. Despite Jordan's brilliance, he couldn't get past Boston in the playoffs, suffering multiple early exits at their hands. Larry Bird saw Jordan's potential before the world caught on. But at the time, experience and a deeper roster gave Bird the upper hand. Jordan rarely handed out praise to his rivals, yet his respect for Bird was always there, even if it was unspoken. Larry Bird wasn't just a player. He was a game changer, a relentless competitor, and a legend in every sense of the word.
Enjoy yourself, dog. Y'all gave us a run for our money. Yeah. All right, take care. Thank you. Work on that golf game of yours.
Michael Jordan's relationship with Larry Bird was layered, marked by fierce competition on the court and surprising camaraderie off it. There was always a hint of frustration in their battles, as Jordan repeatedly found himself outmatched by Bird's Celtics in the early years. Yet, beneath that tension was a deep, undeniable respect. Off the court, their rivalry softened. Jordan was known to invite Bird to play golf, one of the few arenas where he might actually get the upper hand. But even in those moments of friendliness, the intensity never fully faded. At times, Jordan didn't hold back his feelings. He openly criticized Bird's rugged, physical style of play, going so far as to call him dirty during heated moments. Still, those remarks came less from bitterness and more from the fire of a competitor who knew exactly how tough Bird was. Their dynamic captured what made that era of basketball so special: grit, mutual respect, and battles that pushed even the best to their limits.
He's a tough, hard player that you actually, you get angry at sometimes.
Everybody does. I mean, it's a common thing. If you had 273 professional athletes here, a professional basketball player, and you say who's the dirtiest player in the NBA, you know, I say 95%. I say Lambeer or Larry Bird.
Really?
Yeah.
Jordan's criticism of Larry Bird stands out, especially because almost no one else has ever called Bird a dirty player. So, was Bird really ramping up the intensity just to throw Jordan off his game? Or was Jordan simply venting his frustration after struggling to get past Bird's Celtics in the playoffs? Whatever the reason, not everyone in Jordan's circle saw Bird the same way. Dennis Rodman, one of Jordan's most colorful and outspoken teammates, had his own surprising opinion. Rodman once claimed that Bird wouldn't thrive in today's NBA, even suggesting that his game would be better suited for European leagues. The comment raised eyebrows. Was Rodman being serious? Was it just another case of his famous trash talk? The intent behind his words was never fully clear, leaving fans to debate what he really meant and whether he truly believed.
Okay, I'll put it this way. If Larry Bird played in this era, I think he'd be in Europe. So I'm just letting you know, man. Really, you know, like I said, I'm just saying he'd be somewhere over there. Because, you know, I think his game was fit for Boston at that time in the 80s and stuff like that. You know, but today's world, oh hell no.
Rodman's comments about Bird may have come from more than just observation. There was history between them. During their playing days, Rodman was often tasked with guarding Bird, and he learned firsthand just how tough that job was. Bird wasn't just a deadly scorer, he combined skill with relentless energy and a steady stream of trash talk that got under his opponent's skin. Their battles were intense, and Rodman wasn't the only one who saw Bird's competitive fire up close. Isaiah Thomas, Rodman's teammate on the Detroit Pistons, once shared a telling story that highlighted Bird's mindset. According to Thomas, Bird took offense when the Pistons assigned a white defender to cover him at a time when white players were often unfairly viewed as less athletic. Bird wasn't just insulted, he was motivated. He made it clear that it would take more than a token matchup to slow him down. That attitude pushed Detroit to rethink their strategy, leading them to assign Rodman to Bird instead, someone with the toughness and defensive grit.
Hey man, you can't put no white dude on me. Hey, that is straight disrespect, right? He said, don't put no white dude on me. So check this out. So the next year we come back, I said, I got somebody for your ass, right? Yeah. He said, who you got? I said, Rodman. He said, okay, he's a little better. He said, but don't ever put no white dude on me because that is disrespectful.
Talk. But what set him apart was the way he did it. Bird didn't just talk, he entertained. His jabs were sharp, witty, and often so clever they made even his opponents laugh. One of the most ironic moments, Bird once complained about being guarded by white defenders. Ever though he himself was white, it was classic Bird, confident, funny, and always one step ahead. His race also became a defining part of his stardom, especially during his iconic rivalry with Magic Johnson. The NBA spotlighted their differences: Bird, the blue-collar sharpshooter from Indiana, and Magic, the charismatic playmaker from Michigan. Their contrasting styles and backgrounds fueled one of the most legendary rivalries in sports history. And yet, for all their fierce battles on the court, there's no bad blood between them. Today, Magic Johnson speaks about Larry Bird with deep admiration. He credits their rivalry for pushing him to elevate his game, saying he always felt like he was trying to catch up to Bird's greatness. Their competitive fire shaped not just their own careers, but the very identity of the NBA during its goal.
Glad that we came in together because I had somebody to measure myself to, right, and say, hey, okay, he's great. I can't let him get too far ahead of me. I got to work hard because I want to stay in.
How was you guys' relationship? How would you describe your relationship? Obviously, you beat him in the finals in '79, but how was your relationship once you got to the NBA? Because I think the thing was, he was Rookie of the Year. I think you got like 1 or 2 votes.
That's all.
Larry Bird would probably beat LeBron one-on-one.
Really? Larry Bird would beat LeBron James one-on-one.
Because one-on-one, it takes away from everything LeBron has, right? His physical strength, his speed, right? And you know, all that power he has going. Well, in one-on-one, you're talking about 1-2 dribbles. That's not his
corners.
Yeah, that's not his game. Yeah. That's Larry's whole game.
Entered the league. Fans expected a close Rookie of the Year race, but it wasn't even close. Bird won by a landslide. Even years later, Magic admits that loss still stings a bit, but instead of letting it drag him down, he turned it into fuel, using Bird's early dominance as motivation to elevate his own game. Fast forward to today, and there's still debate about how Bird's game would hold up in the modern NBA. The consensus, he'd fit right in. His shooting, court vision, and basketball IQ were ahead of their time. In fact, former NBA star Gilbert Arenas went so far as to say he'd take Bird over LeBron James in a one-on-one matchup, a bold statement that speaks volumes about Bird's timeless talent. Clips.
I always considered myself a confident player, but you know, Larry was an entirely different level. I mean, there's so many stories I have about just him taking games over, and you know, we coach you call a play, and like he's not running the play. Like it's just okay, he's just gonna take it and score. Like, but he just had so much belief in himself, and he could get a shot, you know, with double teams at the end of games. Like teams knew what we were running, and he'd still get a quality look off it.
And glimpse into what made Larry Bird so special, look no further than his former teammate Danny Ainge. Having shared the court with Bird for years, Ainge often points to one quality that defined him above all else: unshakable confidence. Bird believed in his game so completely that he didn't just play hard, he played mind games. He'd tell defenders exactly what he was about to do, then go out and do it anyway. No matter how they tried to stop him, nothing worked. That level of confidence wasn't arrogance, it was precision, preparation, and sheer belief in his own.
He would just, and he was saying in such a calm way that you didn't think it was trash talking, but it's trash talking. You're not going to tell me you're going to go over there and shoot the ball in my face. That's trash talking. But he would tell you before the play even started. He just come out and say, you know, guys, you ain't got to worry. This is where the ball going. I'm gonna catch it over here. And he would tell you to play and catch it over.
Bird tough to defend. Why? Because you look slow as shit to me. So like, I'm missing something. So like, tell me what I'm missing. You know what I mean? And so I would always ask questions and try to learn as much as I could. Right? No? Oh, it's a different generation. You guys probably never even seen Larry Bird play. Which is, how many have seen Larry Bird play?
Hey, everybody's seen Larry Bird play.
That's not a high enough percentage. We got some work to do.